Hi guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. Welcome. How have you all been? Another week on lockdown hasn't been too great. It's starting to take its toll, but I'll keep persevering. Thankful for the internet, thankful for FaceTime, thankful for Facebook and all the other communication tools that we've been able to utilize. So keeping us connected as much as we can, and that's what's needed. But yeah, so 5K, faster 5K, how's that going? So this is my second week of the plan. It's split into 3 sessions: interval session, a 5K paced or tempo session, and a long run of minimum 10K, 6 miles. So that's the plan. But I have on my first run of the week, because I normally run every day because I'm doing a run streak, and I normally gauge my rest day mile on the Monday. So this Monday's mile ended up being about 9 minutes 38, or just below 38 seconds. So it's exactly the same as last Monday's. So I've been able to maintain, which is a good thing. I was hoping to improve a few seconds on last week, but the fact that I didn't slow down was a good thing, so I was happy with that. My second session, or my first actual session, was the speed work or interval session on the Wednesday, and I'm trying to stick to the same interval session for the first 4 weeks. So 400-meter run interval and then a recovery walk. The first week I did the recovery walk in 2 minutes, and then this week I reduced it to 1 minute 30 seconds. So that went really well. I think overall my pace was slightly slower than last week. So I think last week the run sessions were around 5:04 minutes per kilometre to about 5:12, 5:15, whereas this week's session was probably minimum 5:11 and up to about 5:25 or so. So still within the pace that I set myself, but I'm trying to aim for 5 minutes. So I'm still within the 5 to 6 minutes range, but I'm trying to get towards the 5-minute pace. In that respect, I've gone the wrong way, but otherwise I've stuck to the plan as such. So I'm happy with that, it's fine. And because the recovery section was slightly shorter, the overall distance was shorter, so it ended up being about 6:46 kilometers or so. So I think the overall pace was about the same, but the distance was slightly less. So I'm thinking I might just increase the cool down to 10 minutes as well. So it's actually a 5-minute cool down at the moment, just so that I can stretch it to a minimum of 7K for that run. So that's the plan. So next week's interval session, I'll try and make it to be 7K. And I also will want to see if I can jog the recovery section instead of walk. So I'll see how I do. I'm leaving it open. My plan is to run it or jog it, but if I need to walk, I can walk, it's fine. That's not a failure. So that's next week's interval session. And then the other days in between, I don't want to waste that one time out of the house with a 1 mile run. So I think if I do a rest day mile, I will actually walk initially, then do the mile run and then walk back. So that will stretch out that time a little bit. So that's what I did for a couple of those days. And then the Saturday non-park run day, as it's now known, I intended to jog up to the park, run 3 miles and see how my 5K tempo was going to be, and then jog back. But yeah, didn't go to plan. I ran to the park, did my first loop, and then I just wasn't feeling it at all. I was not feeling it at all. And I just couldn't go on to do the rest of the park run. I think it's so weird not, being at the park, trying to do the 3 miles and nobody there. So I don't know, I obviously wasn't warmed up enough as well. So I have this defeatist attitude all the time. If something doesn't go to plan, I just give up. It's not good. So I hope I can improve on that next week. But anyway, so that run didn't go to plan. In the end, I just did 1 loop and then ran back home for the rest of it. So the 5K ended up being slower than previous week's 5K because that first 2K was warm up, and it was obviously slower than it could have been. So it ended up being 32 minutes and 50 odd seconds. It's not too bad time, but still it's not an improvement. So that's a strike. And then also over that weekend, I was watching a lot of internet, YouTube, Facebook lives, and so many people are still motivated to run long, and you know, I've just lost that motivation since all the races have been cancelled. There's one guy who had a live stream on Facebook. He ran a marathon, 26 miles in his back garden. He had this square marked out of his garden and ran so many loops. I don't even know how many loops, but he ran so far 26 miles in his back garden, and he did it. He completed it. Another guy in Finland did a live stream on YouTube, and he did a marathon on his balcony. So it's just up and down. I think it was a 200-meter in length balcony. He was just running up and down, and he running and walking. I think he started off walking and then switched it up a little bit by running every so often. He's an ultra runner, so he's used to walking a bit. But yeah, so he did he do a marathon or did he do a half? No, I think he did a marathon. Another guy, I think he's in the UK, he did a half marathon in his living room. And then also loads of Insta friends are still doing their long runs. I think they are training for ultras as well, which haven't been cancelled because they're scheduled like the end of July. So at the moment, although some are starting to be cancelled as well, but mostly they hadn't at the time been cancelled. So I'm seeing people doing their 9-mile runs. Somebody did 20 miles. Oh, it's just like everybody's still doing it, and I'm just feeling so demotivated. So I said to myself, and because Sunday 29th was due to be the Oakley 20 miler that was cancelled for us, I'm wearing the previous year's 2 years ago's hoodie. You get these really cool hoodies, so that's a great incentive. But yeah, so I thought I'm supposed to be doing 20 miles on the Sunday, so let me see if I can get at least 13 miles in. I'm happy to report that I did. I ended up doing 13.1 miles, half marathon, 21.1k. I'm very pleased that I actually went out and did it. It just made me realize how I actually enjoy running 13 miles, and I do enjoy the long distance runs. And it was lovely to be out and about for 2 odd hours away from this flat. Getting the fresh air and just getting that adrenaline. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I know it's probably too long for my improvement for my 5k. That's probably what slows you down as well. But I think it helps with the endurance. So I'm not going to do that many or that long every weekend, but I think at least once a month I will do a 13-mile run, just so I don't forget. I definitely won't forget. But yeah, it really helped sort of bring back that motivation for running long again. So I'm glad that's not totally been lost. It's still in there, still got it in me. That was week 2 of my faster 5k training plan. It didn't go to plan, but I got some positives out of it, so I'm happy with that. So next week, I think my interval session, as I said, will be a jog for the recovery section. And then we'll see how my 5k goes. I was planning to do my interval session at the park, do my warm-up jog, try and repeat Saturday's issue. And maybe if I do the interval session at the park, that will help me actually improve my park run time when I get there. So that's the plan. See how that goes. Hope you had a good week, and stay safe. Thanks for watching. If you liked, press the like and subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.